It's so nice to meet you, Catherine. How are you?
Yeah, it's great to meet you too. I'm really happy. Yeah.
So Tell It Like a Woman. This is it's a fascinating anthology film. It's very raw and at times quite heart-wrenching, particularly your two segments. And I do want to pick your brain about the origins of the whole project soon, but let's start
Great.
with Percy and Kim. Um, Very interesting way of telling the story to have the main character sort of step outside of themselves, to sort of, I guess, MC their own experience. How did you come across her story?
Well, when I heard about this project, I thought I really want to write a script and do a short film on a real person that's really inspiring, a real woman. So I was just searching. We were looking for anyone with a cool story. I met various people, but I went and I heard about Kim Carter because she was a CNN person of woman of the year,
Mm.
hero of the year. And so I drove down to Riverside and I met her and I was just like dazzled by her. She was immediately the most vibrant, radical person, and she had I met like 20 women that were in a workshop right there that were learning how to write their resumes and learn computer skills. And these women had been on the street like 6 months before, and she had got them off the street, out of prison. They're getting reunited with their kids. And I just saw everything she was doing. I'm like, oh my God. And then I said, you've got to tell me, how did this happen? And she started telling me that story about Pepsi and Kim. She goes, dude, I used, 20 years ago, I was schizophrenic in prison, lost my custody of my child, a drug addict, everything. And she told me how she had the different voices in her head. And I was absolutely mesmerized. So I just went and just wrote it down the best I could, basically like feeling what she had told me with that story. And I thought it was
Amazing.
dazzling. Yeah.
And you can never underestimate the power of Jennifer Hudson as an actress. Like, she is incredible in the film and almost unrecognizable.
Oh my God. I didn't even I went on the set. I'm like, where's Jen? Oh, what? Because she is intense. I mean, she really dove into it. And, Kim was there, the real Kim was there too. And, and Taraji Henson, director, everybody was just getting into it so deep because it was an extremely the heaviest story, what really happened to her. And yeah, I thought Jennifer is ridiculous. She's just so good. And then, we got to go to the UN with this project. I don't know if you've heard this, but got to be in the UN General Assembly, and Kim Carter was up there speaking to people from 50 countries and just knocking everybody's socks off.
Amazing, amazing. Was there any point in time where you were going to direct this segment, or was it always one that you were just writing?
No, I was going to direct it, and because I was just so inspired by it. And then I'm going to be honest, when suddenly during COVID, when Black Lives Matter, I thought, wait a minute, every person in this story is Black, and I'm
Yeah.
not Black. And
Yeah.
a Black filmmaker should make this, African American film should make this story, and so that's why, we went to Taraji and she wanted to do it, and then Jennifer wanted to do it. So that was incredible. And then Kiara, the producer, I go, well, okay, I've done my part. She goes, nope, I still want you to do another segment. So I go, okay, I better find somebody that looks a little bit more like me. And that's also a hero. And that's why I wrote that's why I found Susan, Dr. P.
Amazing. And it's a perfect opportunity to talk about that one now. So that was shot, I presume, during the pandemic. I know it takes
Yeah.
place amidst the pandemic.
Yes.
What challenges did that provide you?
Well, we shot it before the vaccine came out, but I think they had been waiting so long to make this and trying so hard to make it. Then you have all the timing of all the actors. We didn't know if the vaccine was coming out. So we thought, let's just go ahead and do it. There was an opportunity for Marcia Gay Harden and Cara Delevingne, but a lot of actors were definitely nervous. They didn't want to act. So I thought, well, let me move the whole thing outside. The true story actually happened more contained inside the hotel room, but I thought, well, it's part of the hotel.
Hmm.
Let's let her have escaped. gone out of bounds where she wasn't supposed to be, and then we can find her outside. That way people didn't feel so nervous about COVID, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And how did you discover her story?
Oh, okay, same thing, just researching, Googling, like who's doing something interesting. And right at that time, of course, Dr. Partovi had, I think she had an article published in one of the papers anyway, because even during the pandemic, she was still going out there to the homeless clinic, because that's when people still needed even more help and more assistance. So I went down there. I remember I was kind of scared, like, oh, should I be going down to Skid Row, during the pandemic? I'm like, I'm tough. I won't get sick. I popped the mask on. I never got sick. I worked in the clinic. I observed. I hung out with everybody. I never got sick. But it was interesting, just to see somebody that courageous, like Dr. P and the other people she worked with, that she was not scared of
Mm.
COVID. She was not
Yeah.
scared that no vaccine or anything. These people need help, and I'm going to go help them. And she also, for the last 10 years, she's gotten on planes regularly and gone to Haiti. Before even the earthquake, I mean, she's just that dedicated,
An incredible human being. Yeah, for sure. And Cara Delevingne is the last person I would have expected to play a role like that. Which, I mean, she's fantastic in it. But like, thinking about her life and her career, she couldn't be any further removed from a character like that. How did she go stepping into that sort of body?
Well, it's interesting because I believe it's documented, that she does have in her family, she has relatives or people that have certain kinds of mental illness. And so she wants to support people seeking help for mental illness and wants to be supportive of that. In fact, she, very supportive of the clinic and everything. So I think she could relate to it more than we might think.
Mm-hmm.
But also, one of the first things she said to me, and she was pretty fearless too, it was already, we didn't have a vaccine or anything. She goes, I want to really understand these women and what are they like on the street. And I immediately got scared. I go, you can't get sick, but I can go out on the street, and I said, let me go out and do the interviews with all these women and I'm going to give you the videos that you can watch them. So I actually put my mask on, went out on the street, because it was literally right by my house. I live on Venice Beach, and it was all along the beach was a huge encampment. So I just met a lot of women and interviewed them, and they were very open with me, and they told me about their life and what they were going through and let me video them. In fact, one of them, I used her song in the movie. It's
Amazing.
beautiful song, Wishing Well. So we got to pay her. I helped that woman get off the street into housing. So, it kind of came around, but Cara looked at all of the, video, like hours of videos and all her own knowledge. And then she just dives right in, she goes deep. She came over here and she helped make all of the clothes that she was wearing, and wrote on them and tore them up, and she gets into it.
It's an incredible performance, but also, like, not only is it like an important sort of social story, but it's really entertaining as well, because who would have thought that the build up to removing a sleeve could be as suspenseful as it is? Like, I was on the edge of my seat. Like, what are they going to reveal? What's happening here?
I know. And then there's all kinds of things like soy sauce flying out,
Yes. So
then,
it was so entertaining at the same time, which is what really sort of, caught me by surprise. So congrats on getting, something so important as this to be so engaging and just entertaining.
and also, a lot of people that are on the street that have mental illness are very creative people. And so you see, even what she wore was something very creative, and a rabbit and this, and, she was creative, but she needed that as her armor because she needed the protection, So yeah, thank you. Thank you for
that. Sure. What would you say is like the overriding message from that particular story that you were hoping people would extract?
Well, I love the beautiful patience and understanding and compassion that the doctor and the nurse have, that they are non-judgmental. And when I went over to the homeless clinic, I watched Dr. P deal with many, many patients that were actually much more difficult to deal with, even than this character had open wounds and things, but she was patient. She wasn't judgmental. She was loving. She was compassionate. And so I think it's a great message to imagine, like, you see someone on the street, that could be your daughter, like Cara talks about. I used to take care of my whole family. My mother with her old dark hair and, you know, all that, her pink sweater. Like, these people have families, they just don't have a safety net sometimes, and they've fallen through the cracks, and they do need that love, you know. So I hope that's one thing that
Yeah, for
people.
sure. Yeah, Marcia Gay Harden, I can watch her any day of the week. She's amazing on screen. And that compassion, just, it felt so natural coming from her. I feel like she would be a motherly figure, and I'd love an opportunity to talk to her one day. But is she amazing to work with?
Oh my God, yeah, she's just a beautiful soul. You know, she had just written a book. She brought me a beautiful book she wrote about her mother going through Alzheimer's. So I think she could relate to this too, you know, mental issues that people are dealing with. And, you know, that compassion, that love that she gave to everybody in a very measured way. But then the character's also quite fun because, you know, does Botox of the, you know, on the side and running, and she wears the crazy, you know, turquoise eyeshadow. So Marcia just loved it. I mean, she actually transformed herself to look almost identical twins with the doctor. And I have photos of them, you know, they both have the same eyeshadow. And she's just a lot of fun, Marcia. She's fun and just beautiful soul. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see the two of you work together again. It seems like a really good collaboration. On a much lighter note, like, having COVID masks on whilst they're acting must be a fantastic thing, you know, with ADR and things like that.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize it until I got in the editing room. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to lip sync. I'm not like trying to get everything perfectly lined up. But you know, you can't cheat at that as much as you think, because people are moving. But even so, I was like, I'm so sick of masks now that I kind of wish I had had him take off the mask more, because I'd love to see more Marcia and more of Jasmine Love, the nurse. She's beautiful too. But you know, we were trying to be safe and not get anybody sick, you know. But yeah,
It makes it it's a moment in time you've captured. So the mask kind of good in that way, you know, because we can
yeah.
we can watch back and say, well, we know when that was made.
Oh my God, but that moment in time, I'm over it.
Yeah, we all are. We all are. So the overall project, like, how did this come about? Who spearheaded it, and how were the directors chosen?
Oh yeah, well, we have this beautiful Italian woman, Chiara Tilisi, and she has just had this dream of creating a project that was all women directors with female actors and supporting everybody. We do it together. And she's had this dream, held on to it for a long time. That's not easy to get financed, as you can imagine. Short films by different directors around the world. So she kept the faith for a long time. You know, we thought we were going to make it at one point, and this director said yes, and this one drops out. And, you know, finally she said, look, we're going to do it. We've got the money, even though it was right in the middle of COVID. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But then what else were we doing at that time during COVID? You know, we were writing our scripts and stuff. So I thought it was great for me. I really wanted to do it because I wanted to shoot something and make something and tell a story. These two beautiful stories about these women. But Chiara's really the one that had the faith. And then her friends in Italy, let's see, Andrea Vierno, you know, they jumped in, and Lady Bacardi also, they put the money in and made it happen. So kudos to them.
Because I was going to say, I wonder how much more difficult it is to get an anthology film off the ground as opposed to a regular feature. But having people like that behind it, you know, must make it, you know, a much easier process, because it's their baby.
It's very difficult, but I think the passion really, you know, she was determined. I remember she said to me, Catherine, we're going to get this. movie made somehow. We are going to get Diane Warren, who's a friend of mine too, the songwriter. She's going to do a song for it. It's going to get nominated for an Academy Award. It did.
Yep.
And we're going to play that. We're going to debut this at the United Nations. And we did. I'm like, she somehow visualized it all and made it all happen.
Amazing. Were there parameters that they set for the directors? Like, were there like, I guess, deadlines, and did you have autonomy over everything that you shot?
Well, pretty much. I mean, we had a limited budget for every project. And then we had, I think, it wasn't supposed to be more than like 15 minutes long. And then, we were trying to get a certain level of recognizable names to help sell the project. So, but within that, we kind of got to do what we wanted to do, what we could accomplish. Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic film, and yeah, like I said to you, like I just, I go into a lot of movies that have strong social messages a little bit wary, like, if it's going to be a heavy watch, and do I need to prep myself emotionally for it? But the fact that you made it so entertaining and engaging was just it sold it for me. But speaking of entertaining, like before I wrap up and let you run, I just want to compliment you on Mafia Mamma. I tell you what, this movie, it did catch me by surprise. I didn't expect it to be as, what's the word? I mean, it's hilarious, but I didn't expect it to be as legitimately grotesque and violent as it was. And Toni Collette, love her. It was one of my favorite films of the year so far. And I wrote a glowing review, and I just, want to congratulate on it because it's just the best.
Oh, thank you. Well, as you can see, we had an absolute blast making that. It's another uplifting female project, but entertaining. And of course, I love the friendship, the female friendship with Toni, Monica Bellucci, and Sophia Nombet, that they're supporting each other, ride or die friends, and of course, it's wild. It's just an outrageous ride. So if you need, I always tell people, like, right now, after we've been through the pandemic for so long, we just laugh and just be shocked and just laugh. It's a good film, and it's about female empowerment, of course, and that's its message. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely, and yeah, like I said, one of the best films of the year, and I've really enjoyed your work over the years. Red Riding Hood is actually one that I really like a lot, and I've told many people about that. But so I can't wait to see what you do next. I hope it's another banger, because they all seem to be. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, I got to meet you when I come to Australia.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Hey, Val. Dr. P and Nurse Tamika. Val, now all we have to do is we've got to see your arm where the wire went into your wound.
Lena doesn't know yet. Who's Lena? Her sister's daughter. Now she's got you.
सजा में और मजा में थोड़ा सा ही फासला होता है, और फासला होता है दर्द का.
You've been hurt so bad. Your walls are so thick. What happened to you?
What happened to me?
I used to take care of everyone. Whole family.
Ma è stata lei a ferire il cane per uscire.
Look, you're crying about tears. I helped nobody.
You want her family, but yet do this. I have a whole life I've got to get back to. We don't always get to choose the life we live.
जब मैं छोटा था ना, मेरा काम था मेरा 2 छोटे बहन का ख्याल रखना.
Dove vogliamo andare?
Il tuo volo
Può aspettare.